Hi everybody, and welcome to the Australian Vintage Computer Collectors meeting today on the 12th of September 2021. This meeting is being recorded. First of all, I just want to highlight how we sort of going to run this evening. So I'm going to introduce the new people to this meeting tonight. And then once we're done with that, we're just going to go around the room and find out what people have been doing since the last meeting or since the last time they've attended. So I'm going to start with asking Anthony, welcome, and tell us something about yourself.
Thanks, everybody. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Okay. Yeah, look, I'm an old fart, just turned 50. So I've only just really started getting into the collecting. I managed to snag very recently a Mac Classic, a 2C, a 2GS, and an Amiga A500. So all those computers, with the exception of the Amiga, was the Apple computers were my childhood. So I very much regret the fact that we sold the 2C, and then we bought a 2GS, and then we sold that, and then obviously I just went to PC. So it's one of those things. I've been hanging around some of the Facebook groups for a while and just lurking and researching and stuff like that. And I've got absolutely zero technical skills, so don't even ask me to try and solder something because I'll probably join everything together. But I have been watching some YouTube videos and man, it looks pretty easy, but I think I've tried and it's not as easy as they make it out to be, that's for sure. I do love watching, like the 8-bit guy and Adrian Black and all that sort of stuff. So it's been fun. Live in the Canberra region, so I know Jason and there's Randall and there's a few other people. And like I said, just getting into it now. So, doing research on retro briding and then going down the rabbit hole of whether you should retro bride or you shouldn't retro bride, or, because it's going to damage the plastics and all that sort of stuff. So, massive rabbit hole when you get into this retro stuff, but really enjoying it. And I heard about you guys. I did come, like I said, last time, but I had no camera because it decided to break on me on the night that you guys were having this. So I was like, oh crap. So here to learn, here to join in and listen to whatever you guys are doing. And certainly last time when I was listening in, there was a lot of fun just getting to know, so to speak, everybody and seeing what everybody collects. So that's me in a nutshell.
Oh, very good. Well, welcome, Anthony. Good to hear that story. So it's where it starts. So once you start getting a couple of things, that's when you fall down into the pit of despair, which most of us are in. So okay.
Yeah, it's a big money pit, isn't it?
Very much so. And Colin, welcome to you. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, well, look, I've been, I guess like most of you, started off computing back in the 80s as a kid. My first computer was a VIC-20, which I saved up all my paper round money to buy. And then at the age of 15, I did work experience at the local mobile distributor and got to play with an IBM Mini Mainframe Series 1 computer with the big old 8-inch floppy disks, and it actually had a magazine drive where it, like a jukebox, reached out and pulled the discs in and out. And that was pretty exciting at the age of 15, being allowed to play with a $250,000 piece of equipment unsupervised. They offered me a part-time job during school holidays and weekends to assist them, so their normal computer operator, systems admin person could take holidays. So that was my start in computing. I've since gone on and went to uni as a mature age student, did a Bachelor of Business, and then went on to do a graduate diploma in computing. But I'm pretty much self-taught, and I've been collecting computers, well, since the 80s, since I was about 15. Go to garage sales and pick up what people were getting rid of. And how many years are we now down the track? 30, 40 years down the track. And my collection is fairly large. I started off collecting computers that I had used in my youth or come across, and then I started collecting ones I would like to have had. And and then I thought, well, there's some rare ones out there. I'll try and collect some rare ones. And yes, I need to catalogue what I've got so that I don't collect more duplicates of what I already have. A lot of projects there that need to be repaired. Some of the equipment that I've acquired has come in non-working order, yes, I watch lots of videos to give me insight in what I should be doing to resurrect them. But time is the problem. Finding time. Work seems to get in the road of everything in a way.
Yeah, sure does.
So yeah, my collection covers everything from Commodore through to Sega, Tandy, you name it. There's not many gaps left.
Oh, good, great.
Currently, we've been recently. I was contacted by a chap in Japan, in Osaka, Japan. He's reverse engineering the SF7, the Sega SF7000 expansion unit for the Sega 3000, and I'll see if I can share you a video link. He's done a prototype. He's reverse engineering and putting it on a cartridge, so that you can have all the benefits plus more of what the 7000 expansion unit gives you, but the modern convenience of SD cards. And he's from his prototype demo, it looks like he's 99% of the way there, but because of the schematics and documentation is pretty scarce on the internet and not all correct, and he doesn't have access to the original hardware, he's reached out and been able to contact me through other people so that I can do the probing to give him the missing information.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, cool little project to be invited in on. I could share you the video if you would like, or
if you wouldn't mind just putting that link into the chat.
Yeah.
And but there's quite a few SC3000 users in this forum, so they would be very interested in hearing about this project. But
yeah,
cool.
So I started last year trying to resort my collection and put them into big plastic tubs and bubble wrap everything. And when he contacted me, because he'd been told that I did have one or two of them, and when I pulled out the tubs, I found 3 tubs of Sega stuff, and I think there's still a 4th one in my collection somewhere with all the documentation and software. But I found that I actually had 7 of the SF7000s.
Wow, cool.
So I might be able to cover any revisions there might be too.
Oh, very good. Well, welcome, Colin. I think you'll find that you're amongst friends and crazy collectors as well.
Yeah, sorry, I've got a thing on. I need to get rid of my pretend goatee and eyebrows.
Oh, okay. So that's not a real goatee.
We had a Scout Zoomboree last weekend, and we were all disguising ourselves with filters. I'm a Scout leader as well. That chews up a bit of my time, so I'll see if I can get rid of that somehow.
Oh, very good. Well, I think that's all the intros done. So I'll probably I'll start. I'll tell you what I've been doing the last month. So first of all, I've been doing more scanning. I've been going through Cursor magazine, and I'm currently at the Death of Commodore, which is early 1994, and it's very interesting watching how this Queensland users group has starting to implode, and there's lots of opinions about what the future of their group is, lots of defeatist views. So it's very interesting. For those who don't know, they're all on archive.org. That's very interesting. I've got the book that Bill Hurd wrote about Commodore, which is Back into the Storm. It's a latest release about all the Commodores that he was involved in designing. Apparently it's a good read. I have not read it yet. I bought a General Magic Data Rover, which is a very interesting portable computer from General Magic. So for those who don't know, General Magic was formed from Apple Computer, and a lot of the people who designed the Mac were on the, they created this division, and then they spun out and they created a portable computer, which is, someone described it, and I might have been Horst actually, about, it was like Microsoft Bob. And yeah, it's very much like that. So everything is represented by graphics. So like the internet might look like a library, and mail might look like a post office, etc., etc. So it's a portable computer, which I thought I'd like to get my hands on. Other than that, I have been further thinning out my enormous collection of duplicates, and you may have seen some of my auctions on eBay. So there's been a number of Apple IIs and Commodore 64s on list. I'm also selling the network units that I will never use for Apple IIs that I have in my possession. That's practically it. Repairing Apple II keyboards and diagnosing faults and replacing reefers have been the last 30 days of my life. Who would like to say what they've been doing for the last 30 days? Or should I just point out to Dave and say, Dave Merton, tell me about what you've been doing?
All right, I'll jump in. Last 30 days, this little fellow turned up, little Vic 1001. So that's the original release of the Vic 20, Japan only. So quite an unusual little beast. It came to me not working, and it's now working. So that's really nice. Thank you, Commodore, for putting in those cheap and nasty sockets.
How many Vic 20s does that take it to now?
Well, I put
You got quite a few, right?
Yeah, I put a post up. It was a family collection post, and I think there was 14 different versions of the Vic 20 that I've got.
So you don't have the rare 15th variant?
It's actually, there's one coming via DHL at the moment. So the 15th one is on the way, and then apparently there's one other one that I didn't know about, but there doesn't seem to be any of those around. But it is what it is. What else? I got a power supply / floppy drive unit for a BBC Compact, Master Compact, which there fits in on the ground now. And fixed up the power supply in that and got the floppy drive working. So that sort of completes the Master Compact. Building a Vic 20 replica as well. The Vicky 20 is just about done. I'm just waiting on some more components. And I got a whole heap of PCBs come through. So someone pointed me to a project where you could actually build your own MSX2 computer from scratch. So it was just 2 PCBs, and so one for the keyboard and one for the actual computer itself. And so I had a batch of those made up. And and I just pulled the trigger today on a don't know why I did this, but a relay-based computer, a single board computer. I've just put a link in there. It has 80-something relays in it, and a whole heap of blinking lights as well. So I'll go deaf from the clicking, and I'll have a seizure from all the flashy lights. So that'll be interesting when that one turns up.
I haven't read it, but does that come with all those components?
No.
Oh.
No, it's the board and basically the microcontrollers, and then you've got to supply all the other stuff. So
I was going to say, for $109, that's
yeah, I know,
but
you know what? Yeah, I thought, you know what, it's not cheap, given I got 5 MSX, 2 sets of 5 MSX2 boards, so 10 PCBs all up, and that was not even half the price of that. So, but, you know, it was cool, so why not?
You'll enjoy the MSX2 if you've never played with MSX before, David.
Yeah, I've got a Sony, was it a Hitbit or something like that? An MSX1, and unfortunately it got dropped and in post, and the transformer itself is damaged, which is a bit of a pain because the transformer's inbuilt. So when this sort of project came up, and I've got spare Z80 processors coming out my ears, thought, yeah, why not? So that's basically me for the month.
Cool, great. Can I have a volunteer for the next person?
I can go next if you like.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So not much for me. Just probably the main thing was that I think I mentioned I was finishing up my Amiga A600 build. I had a Furia accelerator and mucking around getting that all up and running, and I made the mistake of trying to build everything up from scratch and realized that documentation is very thin on the ground in relation to dependencies and libraries around the old Amiga. But anyway, caught the bug and bought an A1200 because that's what you do, don't you? You know, you sort of like upgrade. And so went all the way. So I picked up a terrible fired 1260 accelerator. That comes excluding a 68060 CPU. So it was interesting is that the CPU itself actually cost more than the actual accelerator. So go figure. But anyway, so that all arrived actually last week. And for anyone who's ever played with the Motorola CPUs and the square ones, try to get them off a motherboard or an accelerator card is a lot of fun. So I wasn't too worried about actually getting it off, but I was actually putting the new one in, which was actually stressing me because if I bent a pin, that's pretty much a $600 CPU out the door. But anyway, it's all up and running now, so that's actually quite good. And probably the last thing, and Ian would like this, but I also picked up can you see that? Oh, sorry, it's a bit blurry.
Dragon 32.
My Dragon 32 has arrived, so yeah, so that's all, and it looks pretty much hasn't really been touched or very minimal use. So fired it up. RF is absolutely horrible. So first thing I had to do was actually find get myself a composite cable, and I actually just found out this has RGB out as well. So yeah, so ordered that in an SD card. So hopefully the shipping from the UK won't be too long. But yeah, that's all I've been really playing with. Is just been Amiga at the moment. Oh, sorry, and lastly. It's been sitting in my spare room for the last 6 months. I've got an Apple II GS. It's a ROM 1 machine, and I was talking to some people going, oh, picked up a cheap 1 meg accelerator card, 1 meg memory card, only cost me $40. So then waiting for shipping. So got it down and fired it up, and then realized that GEOS actually needs 4 meg to run. So
do you mean GSOS?
GSO, yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, so it actually won't even, it will boot, but it won't go any further. So I've got to go off and get a 4 meg or an 8 meg card too.
Why don't you, I think it's Garrett's Workshop.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
They sell a very nice low-cost 4 or 8 meg module that...
Yeah, I think they're all sold out. I think there must be chip shortages or something along the way. So, yeah, but someone actually mentioned that the RAM chips on my memory card are actually, not rare, but, they're quite... popular, so we might just strip it and actually just sell the RAM chips off and make some money or something. I don't know, but yeah, so that's all I've been doing over the last few months. And look, and the last thing is I've put my name down for the Mr. group buy, so out of Retro Man Cave. So I'm not sure if anyone else is actually part of that, but that's So I've looking forward to when that concludes and have a play of the D10 boards, etc. So getting all up and running. That's it for me.
Cool. Plenty going on then.
Yeah.
I'm going to appoint someone.
I'll go next.
Thanks, Danny.
That's all right. Well, I haven't really done much, so been busy with work. The only really thing that I've been up to is I picked up a pile of Apple III cards the other week from a guy on Facebook, and so those came. And so I've just been...
Facebook Australia.
Yes.
What did you pick up?
I picked up a soft card, so Z80 for the Apple III version. So 2 profile cards.
Oh, they're cool.
You snooze, you lose, Anthony.
I gotta say, I must not have the skills, but somehow people can get these face. What's that?
The Z80, the Microsoft Z80.
That's the Microsoft soft card. Yep.
Yeah. So the Apple III version.
I've ordered the kit. For those who don't know, there is a kit you can now buy.
It's essentially the same card.
Yeah.
And a memory board. Because I was short some memory on my 5-volt, 12-volt RAM, so I needed some of those to finish off my own board. So,
how much would you pay for all those cards?
300.
Oh, okay. So the guy knew what they were worth.
Yeah. Look, I've got profiles, but no profile cards. I needed the memory. The memory's pretty expensive to buy by itself, so it wasn't the cheapest, but
About $300, I'd pay it.
Yeah, I mean, where else are you going to get them from in Australia? So, and by the time you pay for shipping to get them from the States, it's not worth it. So,
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. I mean, I think how much is the reproduction Z80?
$89.
Yeah. Is that Australian or US?
Of course not. It's $89 US.
Yeah. So, if you think about it, I probably paid $100. Well, so yeah, 300. So yeah, wasn't too bad then.
Yeah, I think I won because at least I get to enjoy building it.
Well, if it works.
Enjoy.
Other than that, few monitors been pulled apart and just waiting for parts to repair a few things. And like you, just sort of try to thin out a few of my computers. So that's about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Looking at the people.
I'll go next if you like.
Yeah, great. Go, Tim.
So I haven't attended this since the first one you ran quite a long time ago. So I've just been that busy with work. I'm an IT manager at a school, so it's actually gotten more busy over the last few weeks. But in that time, if you look behind me, I've actually managed to get my hands on an Apple IIc, and I did a restoration on it. And I've never done a restoration before. I've watched, videos by Adrian Black and Jason and LGR. So this is the first time I went through it. And it was good because this particular machine had everything wrong with it. So it had like a gummy keyboard that I had to fix up. The first time I plugged it in to see if it even worked, the monitor went bang. So then I had to recap it. I've retro-brighted it, done all kinds of stuff. I had to build a power supply for it because it didn't come with one. So this was a really good introduction to actually doing all the things I've watched on YouTube. So I now officially have one under my belt, and I'm kind of looking forward to doing more. This is actually the only Apple machine that I own. My growing up was all DOS and IBM machines, so this is an interesting jump into that as well. So I don't know what's next. One thing I do want to do is work on my Tandy Coco 3. I still need to take Ian up on his offer of a CM8, if he still has it. No, wonderful. I want to try and get one of those RGB to HDMI boards that were profiled with, I think it was Adrian's channel that did it. So I can start to get some image out of that. That's it for my month.
Cool. Thanks, Tim.
Tim, a relatively cheap upgrade. Well, it's actually not relative anymore because everything's just so expensive. But you talk about a gummy keyboard. Try to find an Alps keyboard out in the wild and just do a direct swap out on your 2C. It just makes a world of difference to if you do any typing on the 2C.
Well, I ended up going through and clearing out all the key switches, which Adrian did. So putting in, there's a WD-40 electrical contacty thing that I've sprayed in there and a bunch of other stuff. And the keys just came back to life, including the latching keys. So it actually feels a whole lot better. So that was a pretty good outcome, but I'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I did the same with my 2C as well, with the spraying of the contact cleaner in it and stuff like that. And also I had to muck around with the little springs to make it work better.
Yeah. I think there's a replacement board coming for the keyboard from the States. I think MacFX is making something new.
Oh, nice.
Mechanical keys. So
that'll be nice.
Yeah, keep an eye out for it.
Cool. All right. Next.
Yeah, I can go next because I've got really not much to talk about. Computer-wise, I've done very little. I think hang on.
I should check the screenshot and see if that background has changed. I don't think it has. I think the pile looks exactly the same as the last pile.
It's probably an image. It's not actually his background.
No, some of the microbeads keep changing. I've been working on the Dick Smith's Super 80. did a few more upgrades. But more to the point, we're getting a couple of cases coming down from Sydney, so they're going to take a bloody fortnight all the way from Sydney with the current post way it is.
So a Super 80 case, was that a genuine item?
No, but it's modelled from a genuine one with a few minor changes. I could probably flash a photo of one up in a minute. But yeah, it's the same shape and it'll be the same colour. So I actually have a case, finally. Done a lot of scanning of some newsletters, scanning of some magazines, scanning of leaflets, scanning of some books. Other than that, that's all I've done. So it's been fairly quiet in a way, computer-wise. So.
Great. Right, next volunteer, please. Oh, Rob.
I wish I could say stuff was really exciting, but it's just been a couple of minor things. After the last meet, I think pretty much signed off that night and ordered a FujiNet. So I had a quick play around with that for the Atari 8-bits. I blame Anthony for that, but I haven't spent much more time with it than I'd like to, because it does some pretty neat stuff. It's convenient to just be able to download software onto it without having to fiddle about. Other than that, I've been playing on for some of the latest firmware updates they made to the RetroTink 5X, which is nice and black, so you can't really do that. Which they put out a firmware update a few days ago that really improved compatibility with computers. So one of the problems I have is a lot of machines I tried, like Spectrums, really only tried the Spectrums, the RGB Spectrums, and it just failed to sync with them. But there's basically been a firmware update that's improved the compatibility, and I was messing around with that today. Tried my 128K Toast Rack Spectrum and my Electron, and they both synced up pretty nicely. So I'm pretty happy with that. I've got to organise to pull the BBC Master out and try that, because that's one of the big things about the RetroTink 5X over other scalers, is that it can do mode switching without dropping the signal. So I'm really looking forward to having that for being able to capture stuff from the BBC, just when I work out how I'm going to set it up to do that. And the other thing which just arrived today, was this book, Homebrew Gaming and the Beginnings of Vernacular Digitally, which is basically a bunch of like 80s developers, like sort of starting out in homebrew stuff. And I only got a chance to flick through sort of the acknowledgements and saw Alan's name in there, so I presume. But yeah, so it's sort of focusing on a lot of the development of, during the 70s and 80s, of just like, games development starting out on those. So it scratches a bunch of itches that's really cool for me. That's sort of really been it. I did not get a chance to look at the keyboard on my C64 Reloaded yet, because I know some of the keys are traveling okay, but they're not responding. I've still got to look into that.
Tell me about RetroTink, because I'm guessing for someone who wants a universal display adapter, let's call it that. Let's not say we're interested in the video playback for streaming or anything like that. Yeah. Is there a product that would suit my needs, or do I need to buy a couple of different models to get?
So the 5X is really good because you've got inputs for, let's bring it up. So you've got an S-video input here. You've also got component and composite, and then you've got SCART, and then you've got a SCART one, which will do composite and RGB. So if you think of stuff like 15 kilohertz, so I've used this with my C64, my Atari 8-bits, my Apple IIc, the Spectrum 48 and 128, so composite, comp modded 48K and an RGB 128. And so it does all of those stuff. So I'd say like 15 kilohertz, because the guide design is mainly more console oriented, but you could get, so what this will do, it'll put all of those in, and it'll give you HDMI output up to, like if you get it displayed, it does 1440p. So it's got a lot of room to breathe. And it's also pretty low latency, which is sort of important.
Very important.
And one thing that's great is it's plug and play. Like there's a bunch of tweaking you can do to improve the signal. Some of the really cool features aren't available for PAL signals, for 50 hertz signals, which kind of sucks. But there's like basically optimized timing, optimized scanning. And yeah, let me throw that. So basically, it's at the moment it's about 400. Works out to be about 400 and something Australian. But you literally just plug it in, plug a USB wall wart in, like you can plug it into a TV. And yeah, you basically just, pick your signal and go. So one of the things that's worth noting is at the moment, because of all the component stuff, he does in bursts. So there's going to be a batch coming up towards the end of the month. And the downside is you've got to get up at like 2 a.m. Although apparently he's going to try and make the next one fit better, because he does like basically one batch, they all go up and they sell out pretty quickly, because he's been trying to work to getting to have constant availability like he does with the older devices. But yeah, so the current firmware updates really improved it, where it's been like a device that's been really good, and now it's like it's pretty much god tier. I don't know about doing like PC kind of stuff. I'd love to see if I can. I don't think I can do that, but for all the other stuff I've tried, it's just worked great, and it's just like less faffing about than you have to do with something like an OSSC, which an OSSC is powerful, but you just have to mess around with all the timings. You don't have to do that here, which is why I'm a big fan of it, because especially switching out systems, because this is all going into capture gear for me. It saves me a whole bunch of hassle.
Will it work with a 2E Platinum? Because I know that put out a very funny composite signal.
So I've tried my 2C is I've got the official Apple modulator.
Yeah.
So I haven't tried with the native output.
But the 2C works a bit differently again. The 2E Platinum had a very weird.
I know, like the crystal, like it's like even though it's putting out 50 hertz, it does something with the color carrier. So unfortunately, I don't know the answer there.
Dave, go buy one and tell us. Report back next month.
I've already got a 2E Platinum screen, so that's I don't know.
hopefully we can, when we can meet in person again, I can bring it and we try.
Yeah. What Danny and I want to know is, how does it go with RGB out on an Apple III? That's what we're
The big thing is, if someone's got a SCART lead the big thing is, if you can get a SCART lead that'll work for a consumer television, it'll be good, because you can't. So this is one of the things that confused me for a while, was machines like the Spectrum that do TTL levels for computer monitors. You need to basically have a cable that lowers those signals into the range for a SCART consumer television. And if you can get a cable that does that has the necessary resistance wired up, this should hopefully pick it up.
The only thing that I've always wondered, and I don't know if there's a product in the marketplace that emulates an RF receiver or a tuner in a television, so that you could get those devices that only output to RF, and you don't need to do any modifications. You can natively get composite out. But yeah,
I've been looking for something like that for a while, and no joy.
They exist, but I haven't found much. I was looking into. I remember picking one up a while back, and I was trying to use it for my 2600, and it was just like no dice.
Just buy a VCR.
Getting a
VCR.
Yeah, that's.
But by the time you've gone from composite to RF and then back to something, the quality's crap anyway.
No, that's when it gets better, Denny. It gets much better, much better.
I mean,
just like
the idea here is that you're going to be taking an RF signal, feeding it into the VCR, getting the composite output of that, then being able to feed that into an upscaler or a TV or whatever. Yeah, I kind of wish I had a solution for that. I know some people have done it, but yeah, I've not had much luck finding them.
Cool. The Apple III, you might find one of these little jiggers, the RGB to HDMI with the Pi Zero, does the job nicely. Because that's
What is that?
It's a Raspberry Pi Zero with basically put your RGB either analog or digital on one side, and then it actually uses the Pi's HDMI output and actually spits it out to your TV. So
what's that worth?
Derek Osborne, I don't know if you know of him. Some of the guys here will. He has a little shop on Tindy. I think they were going for about $80.
Okay.
It was originally designed for the likes of the BBC, so over in the UK. But Adrian Black's actually used it quite successfully too. He used it to take a signal from a Mac, which is a very non-standard signal, and he could actually play with the settings. And when I mean a Mac, I'm talking about like a Mac Classic or a Mac Plus, I think it was, and actually spit it out on HDMI. So you can really configure it up the wazoo. So nice and cheap, and I got it for the Commodore 128 for its RGBI. So if it works on that, it should be pretty close to working on your Apple IIIs.
Yeah, there's a couple of options that I do have, because I don't have the RGB 100 monitor, although Danny probably has 7.
No. I use a Taxon screen on the 3.
Oh, okay. Yes, because they've
they're
an Apple III mode on the back.
Yeah. They're really nice.
I've got one of those, maybe
Yeah.
one, maybe 2.
Only one.
Yeah, I know, it's a problem. It's a problem.
Sorry.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Rob. All right. I'm just going to start poking people. Scott, tell me what you're doing.
That's right. I was about to volunteer anyway, so you read my mind. Basically, I didn't get to mention anything last time we were on. A bit quiet in the background, but what I have been working on is my little Tech 1 computer board, which is now on steroids. So I'll see if I can shift the camera quickly so people can see the setup for that. Swap that over. So that is the board. So anybody that's familiar with the Tech 1 from the other groups,
there's some stuff sticking out of it.
Yep. So basically, it's had the onboard memory removed and now has 64 kilobytes of memory here, and it's laid out in Commodore 64 type of fashion. So you can swap out the ROM. That's a ROM emulator sitting here with the red clip on it. You can swap out that ROM and run purely from RAM. So one of the first things my monitor that I've got built into it does is copy the ROM into the underlying RAM and then swap out the ROM and continue on from there. So just a Z80 clip that breaks out all the Z80 signals. Now on the back up the top here is a CPLD board, which I use to run the logic. It was far simpler to do it with a Python CPLD than it was to actually use any sort of old logic like the 138s for doing memory decoding. It also gives me the ability to swap out the ROM from software. I don't have to flick any switches or anything. I can just do an out statement on the Z80 and it'll swap out the RAM. So that's all I've been working on. Haven't done really much with it lately. I've still got to finish the board design because I actually want to put a daughter board that goes across the back of the tech board for operating that. So that's what I've been up to anyway.
Oh, can I ask? So you've got 64K on Tech 1.
Yep.
What on earth could you possibly do with it?
Well, the demonstration, I did put up a demonstration video in the tech board group, and I was running Altair Basic on that.
Oh, cool.
The only catch with that is obviously swapping, running 80 stuff on a Z80. You lose out on some of the CPU flags, and so you couldn't get things working like floating point operations and stuff. So I've been hunting around trying to get a copy of Microsoft Basic for the Z80 to run that instead. But for a demonstration purpose, it was fantastic being able to get that up and running, and for people to have a look at it, that it is actually possible to get a Basic running on a tech. Next step is probably CPM. Not as something that I'd use seriously on it, but just as a, hey, it's been done, it can work.
Cool. That's awesome. Well done. Now, Mav, I'm going to point you out. Mav, tell us what you've been up to.
Hey everyone, how you going? I've been playing around with cars. As the weather's gotten better, and I have a carport, and so I've been messing around with cars. I'll talk to Stuart later about something. I've been watching some posts starting to come through from the United States. VCF Midwest is on in Chicago at the moment, and I've been seeing pictures coming through, and I've been sort of formulating whether it might be worthwhile to once we're allowed to fly again, to go back to the US and start going to the odd VCF. So it's something I might consider next year if and see if any of the others are interested in going to that sort of thing. They certainly look interesting and much bigger than anything we've been able to organise here. So might be a bit of fun.
Keep me in mind.
I'll let you know. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're free these days, aren't you?
Somewhere.
Relatively speaking. Yeah. Well, as I go yearly to Tandy Assembly, though I won't be going this year because, the same reason that all of us can't go anywhere. Even though the Americans seem to not really care, that even though their COVID rates are fairly high, but they've resigned themselves to the fact that they're just going to go to computer festivals, and if they get sick, they'll worry about it later. So I was looking at going to the Cocoa Fest and the Tandy Assembly next year and subsequent years, but I was also looking at as well as going there, say twice. If there's a VCF that's within a couple of weeks of it, I could spend my yearly vacation week or two in between the two, something like that. So it's I'm sort of mulling it over. We'll see. I've had my 2 jabs. I'm just waiting for Victoria to hit 80%, and then I'm out of here to the US. You wouldn't believe how quick I'm going to book myself a flight and get over there. I don't know, Anthony, you still got relatives over there that you visit, or no?
No, I don't have any relatives there. I just have an accent. So.
Okay. That's right. I never understood that, but
yeah, I'm Australian. I just have an unfortunate accent.
Yeah, I've got lined up some big hauls of equipment that I need to pick up from either directions within Victoria. I'm waiting for lockdown to be over to pick them up. I don't think there's anything particularly interesting in them, other than that it's all pre-year 2000 equipment, and you can find the odd surprise inside a Pentium 2, Pentium 3, something like that.
Or maybe a sock. A sock might be in there.
Yeah. Mouse shit.
Yeah, cockroaches.
Yeah, cockroaches, mud. I picked up 3 IBM PS2 Model 80s, but they've quite literally been in water. So they're I haven't. I don't think I'll even put power to them. They have rust in addition to a tide mark about 1/3 of the way up. Might get a good processor out of them. That's about it. But it's a shame.
The floppy drives are useful.
They've got rust in them.
Oh.
Yeah. So I didn't pay much for them, but I had to go a long way to get them. So I'm kind of I'm freeing up. If anyone's been watching my eBay listings, I've been freeing up my space of things that I can't be bothered repairing, and at the prices that people are buying them for these days, it's like, why would I?
Yeah.
So hopefully by the time the lockdown in Victoria is over, in Melbourne in particular, my shelves will be relatively empty, and then I can go start buying up stuff again and getting that good stuff out there.
Cool.
Yeah, and on a on a car related thing. I'm going EFI on. Stuart, have you got the muscle car? Is that correct, or am I?
Yes, I do. Correct.
Yeah. So I'm moving away from carburetors. I'm going for Holly Sniper EFI system on my car. So it's the first time I've gone for computerized engine management on a classic car. So
Yeah, well, I was actually thinking of doing the same thing myself, but
all right, we'll talk about it later. We don't want to ruin the podcast.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You'll have to tell us what sort of processes the EFI is running.
Just
to keep it related.
And one more car related thing. Sorry, I got TRS 80 number plates for my SUV. So I don't know if anyone.
They're legitimately Victorian plates.
They are. They're Victorian plates.
I thought they were fakies. When I saw the post, I thought, oh, they must be fake.
No, $500. I thought, what the hell? I'm only
So after all this time, they weren't taken.
Well, they were. They were, but I got TRS 8 letters O for Oscar.
Oh, yeah.
But I picked the typeface that looks like a 0. And so if Kevin Parker sees this, who has got the actual
the real ones,
plate, I don't know what it's kind of like. I use some bureaucratic loophole to get plates that look exactly the same as this.
So a couple of speeding fines might go his way.
Yeah, I know. It'd be funny if both our cars are parked next to each other one day. Like, what the? You know. Yeah. No.
Thanks,
all right, guys.
Murray, what have you been doing? I know you want to talk every week, so you must be doing a lot of stuff.
Well, no, I haven't, but I have found some pictures that might be of interest. This was a visitor to one of my last NOS yeah, we could get one light to change color, and that's about it. You flip switches and nothing happens.
If you switch it off and on, then they'll all change.
Yeah, that's right, they did. And
is it
whose was that?
original or is it a
Riley bought that one.
Oh, okay.
And this is one of my Hitachis.
Oh, that looks like that
That
Chinese
looks like
Apple
Michael's crazy Chinese.
Those Chinese Apple IIs.
Which I managed to get some sort of thing on the screen with it. What else?
Yeah.
Oh, you've only got version 1.1.
And I've got quite a few features and some apples, but has anybody ever seen one of these?
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't show the whole thing. It's called
Is that an
pear.
Apple II clone?
It's called a pear.
Oh, a pair of
I've
what?
heard of them.
It was in a magazine article. I've never seen one, so I
Yeah,
don't know.
never saw one in the flesh.
No.
I'd only seen them in magazines back in the day.
Yeah.
And I've been sorting out my RAM. That took a bit of organising and testing.
Too organised.
Yeah, yeah.
You run out of things to do during lockdown. You start to head down that path.
Yeah. And that's my desktop looking from where I'm looking at it.
Can I ask why you've kept the faulty RAM, Murray?
The faulty ones? Yeah, some of them, it was interesting because I was testing the 72 pins in an LC475 and some of the modules wouldn't actually latch in correctly. You almost had to hold them in there to make contact. So whether they work in other machines, I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good, Murray.
So not a great deal, and also been going through a stack of old hard drives trying to find out whether they work or not. Quite a few.
What's your strike rate been like?
It's probably about 1 in 3 with the SCSIs, and
1 in 3 dead or 1 in 3 working?
Oh, 1 in 3 working. Yeah, I got a few of the 50-pin SCSIs to work. And the IDEs, well, no. But again, it's a case of, I don't know whether they work on other machines and they're not working on this one. There's so many variables.
Yeah.
So, yeah, occasionally they get scrapped completely, but other than that, you just stick them back in the cupboard.
It's funny. Somebody asked. I'm not sure who it was that asked, like, why you didn't keep the faulty RAM. It's like when you work on let's say you're replacing components in a Commodore 64 or something like that, and the PLA chip's dead or the SID chip's dead, and it's like, I can't throw it away. I'll just stick it on this piece of styrofoam that says dead, and that's where its new life will be.
You're just waiting for the day they invent some technology that can fix them.
That's right.
And then if you were throwing them out, you would have said, damn, I should never have thrown all that out.
Yeah, that's right.
The sad thing is I've still got all my Commodore 64 dead what are they, the SIA chips, and I can tell exactly how each one of them blew to to this day.
Just shave the top off and do some microsurgery. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Horst, what have you been up to?
There we go. So, after the last meeting, I think I said I was gearing up to assemble the Nuxt, New XT, however it's pronounced. 3 days of laser focus later.
Oh, look at that.
He's done.
Nice.
Can you push that closer to the camera for us? Oh, holy crap. Did you have to do that processor soldering?
This is the VGA, not the processor, but yes. Yes,
did you,
I did.
Did you use
hot air or drag?
Yes.
Neither.
Neither.
Pin by pin. I tried drag soldering, really I did, but it just kept sticking blobs of solder on all the pins. I'm like, no, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to be patient and get every single pin down.
Were you using flux?
Of course.
And you were still getting it stuck?
Yeah.
Too much solder.
No.
All I got to say is great work. I would have just, I would have totally destroyed that.
So here's the fun bit. The resistor networks that sit at various parts on the board, I'm hoping that's showing up clearly. I've sort of simulated them. You can see another one over here. Sort of simulated them by just sticking a bunch of resistors up through the holes and then tying them together.
Oh, yeah. That'll work.
That'll work. Yeah.
Yeah, but now I'm trying to figure out.
But the bottom line is, does it work?
Operating.
Yeah, does it work? It doesn't work.
I haven't got a spare ATX power supply. I haven't powered it up yet. I've got the compact flash cards. I've got floppy drives ready to go.
You got a copy of Windows 11 to install on it?
Oh, yikes. I have a Socket 7 board down here that Stephen Ball, I think it was kind enough to send over the cost of postage. Needs a little bit of debugging. I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I can technically make Windows 7 run on this. I shouldn't, but I could if I wanted to.
So that's a job well done. What else have you been up to? Anything simpler?
A little bit, actually. There was mention earlier of a Dragon 32 coming in to someone's possession. I forget whose.
Henry.
Okay. So I was actually asked a few months back to see if there was a way to bypass the power supply in the Dragon and have something incorporated that would be a little less 40 years old and full of bugs. So I've been working on tiny little replacement linear regulator PCBs for each rail. I've got them down to about the size of a postage stamp each. But other than that, no, that's sort of where I've been. Just as a side note, someone was mentioning that they grew up very much with the DOS machines, and so now they've acquired Macs, and sort of it's a bit of a shift. I started with an Apple IIe. An Apple IIe was the first machine I used, and then I got to play with Performers. So just as a side note, that XT is a piece of computing history that was never personally relevant to me. I'm so looking forward to figuring out what weird things I can do to it.
Oh, cool. Great.
Well, so if you need a beta tester for the Dragon, I mean, I take it just takes a standard 12 volt in, and you just you take out the three. It's a 12 plus or minus 5 volt from memory, isn't it? From the Dragon.
That's correct. You'll need a 15 volt input, but
15, yeah.
like 15 volt 3 amp bricks are dime a dozen from laptops. Anywhere between 15 and 24 volts in will be fine.
Yeah, all my LED lights run on 15 volt. Yeah,
Hopefully not 3 amps though.
Oh, good grief, that would be a little much, yeah.
Very good. All right, Dave. I'm not sure if you're. Yep, there you are. What have you been up to?
Absolutely nothing. The best thing I found in since the last meeting, I've missed the last two. It was only about a fortnight ago. A bloke over in Sweden or Finland or somewhere, can't think of his name. He's produced a sort of like a Turbo Pascal, with all drivers for the Commodore 64, for the VZ, for VIC-20, for the PET, for the Apple IIe, for multi-processor libraries and stuff. I've just been playing around with that. I'm not so much of a collector. I've got a Micro B, a couple of ZX81s, a whole bunch of VZs. There's an Apple 2GS or something floating around somewhere that's broken that I need to fix one of these days. I'm mostly just into VZ stuff and retro programming, just like Jason Oakley, who isn't on here tonight. This new library of software for the various platforms. It's anyone who knows about the ZX Z88 development kit that's been around for years. It's the C compiler for a whole bunch of platforms. Well, this is the equivalent of the Turbo Pascal compiler. So far, it's looking really, really good. He has a lot of demo programs that come with it for a whole bunch of the various computers. But yeah, it's looking really good.
I think can you guys still hear?
No, it's just cutting out.
Okay. Just give him a second.
Been playing around with that. The other thing which I have been trying to do is collect all VZ stuff since. Oh, can you hear me?
You're just cutting in and out a bit.
We're on satellites. No.
VZ server dying.
Yeah.
That's our national broadband.
Kill me. Go on to someone else. Satellite. It's pretty ordinary.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move on because he's just dropped out to Pat. So, Pat, tell me what you've been doing for the last however long. Were you here last time, Pat?
I was. It only feels like a couple of weeks ago, though.
That's right. That's right. Because you were in my defense for Murray's daily,
weekly,
daily or daily catch-up. All right.
I mean, I get Murray's sentiment. I do enjoy the catch-ups, but yeah, it seemed to go really, really fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you're still working.
I hate to be a broken record, but I've really done very little since the last time round. I've done a few kind of purchases and stuff like that, but nothing terribly interesting at the moment. It's probably more modern technology than vintage at this point in time, but just a few things just distracting me at the moment. But it's just a very busy time for me, unfortunately.
Can I quickly catch up with you? We'll have a quick Intellivision chat. Have you bought any of the latest homebrews?
No. My homebrew collection is tiny. I've only got about 3 or 4 titles.
Well, I would like to show you a very nice sealed copy. I haven't opened it yet. Hang on. So this particular title is not very well known. It's I don't think they want to advertise it because Atari might take them to court. This is a sealed copy of Clax for the Intellivision, and it looks very much like every other Atari title. And it's been beautifully created. You would think it was a genuine Atari product. For those who don't know, here is an Atari version of Centipede for the Intellivision. And they've actually made the back with the same graphics, so authentic. The manual looks exactly the same, but this one's not publicly for sale. You just have to know the right people to get it because they don't want to acknowledge that they made a product that doesn't represent the company.
I quite enjoy collecting the Intellivision titles, but the homebrew costs like a lot. Like for brand
not
new
as much
stuff.
as the original 150 one, not as much as the original.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I suspect that I don't, because I don't really keep up with all the, the forums on Atari Age or whatever else around sort of staying up to date on all that sort of thing. But so when I see it, I'll quite often I'll have a think on whether I'll acquire it or not. But I think I come in late, and so it ends up being expensive.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yes, no, I'm fascinated. I'd also be fascinated to see once you actually open them how they actually play.
Oh, okay. So this is the only one I haven't opened. All right. I don't know why. It's because this one is really, really bizarre, and I will open it. I will open it. It's just like I'll savor the moment. But I mean, all the other ones, like
you need to order another one and then open it.
I could have, but that's really lame.
That's why
really,
they cost so much money.
I'm not really big on buying things and having lots and lots and lots and lots of them. It's really stupid. Says the guy that has lots and lots of things. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's the old Anthony. We need to talk about the future. We need to stop talking about the past. Right now and moving forward.
The real Anthony.
The real Anthony. But in seriousness, probably the best one I bought would be either Defender of the Crown for the television, which is pretty darn amazing. The graphics are awesome, and you've got all the overlays and the manuals that you would expect. And
I saw your tweets of that when you were playing it way back. And
it's bloody good.
It blew my mind that came out for that they've done this in television.
And another one that's actually surprisingly fun is The Lost Caverns of Kroz.
Oh man, that's sat in my watch list for ages, and I've never purchased it. So that's an interesting endorsement. I might.
Yeah, so
pick up a copy.
I think that you should buy it. It's actually very fun to play. The other one that's surprisingly cheap and fun to play, Maria. So Maria is not, here's the things that's bad about it. It's not a standard box size. Look at that. How do you have this on your shelf? But it's highly playable, a lot of fun. If you like The Legend of Zelda or these types of games, Maria's for you. It's about $35. It's not expensive. You should get it now.
Yeah, okay. Well,
that's the order today. Yeah, limited copies are available. Get in now.
You're not like a Maria wholesaler or something.
Hey, Anthony, I can beat you one. Defender of the Crown, PC.
It's the worst.
And Defender of the Crown, Spectrum.
Oh my God, that's even worse.
Well, I played the PC one out back when it came out a fair bit. And I have the Amiga version, like the CinemaWare Amiga version, on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, I think I have the CinemaWare Apple II GS version.
I was going to say, because there was a GS version.
And a CinemaWare Commodore 64 version. Yeah.
It's like your Intellivision. These are both limited runs by CinemaWare itself. I think one of the ex-programmers set up his own company and started doing like limited runs. So yeah, I don't actually want to open them for some reason because you can actually get them digital. I think, don't know what to do with them. So one day
it's funny, yeah. Now that I look at the box, you're right. It says CinemaWare Retro. So it's www.retro.cinemaware.com. So obviously he's
it should be numbered as well. There should actually be like a number out of 250 or 500 on there.
Not this. This is dime a dozen in television. There's billions of Intellivision users out there. So they just couldn't be bothered serial numbering them.
Yeah.
I'm joking. All right, great. That's enough Intellivision chat. So the next person is Stephen. So Stephen, tell us all about what you've been doing.
Yes, I'd like to follow on from Dave's theme of weird and wacky Commodore bread bins. Managed to acquire this last week. Does anyone recognise it?
Yes. What?
Oh, yeah?
What is that?
What is that?
Oh, you don't know this one? This is the Dream Commodore 64. It's from Argentina, and apparently the story goes that in Argentina there was quite a high tax on computer imports. That was to encourage local manufacturing, and so a local manufacturer did a deal with Commodore and licensed to make Commodore 64s under their brand name of Dream. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird and wacky one, but trying to sort of fill in the whole collection of variants. The other thing I picked up was this. I saw this and I had to grab it in the spirit of what we're doing tonight, gathering together. Commodore Pet Users Club newsletter, 1979, Volume 1, Issue 1. So this could be the first Commodore newsletter / group club, whatever you want to call it, that ever existed. And it's got a nice sort of rigid cover, and I haven't opened it yet because I sort of just received it. But I thought, when I saw that, I thought that'd be nice to.
Is that on archive.org?
Where was the club? It doesn't say where.
No, it doesn't. All it says on the front is Commodore Business Machines Incorporated 1979, and that's it. I probably should open it to find that out. But I'll have a look for it on the archive, and I'll have a look through it, and I'll see if I can find more info.
I'm looking now.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking now.
The other thing that I've been working on for a while, I wouldn't say working, I've been looking at it for a while. It's been sitting there in pieces. I have an Acorn A3000 that, as you may know, has the Vata battery on the motherboard. And you know Dave from EEV blog on
yes, yep.
The teardown of the exact one that I've got, and his was destroyed. It was destroyed beyond repair, so he had to basically, I think, throw that one out. Mine fared a bit better actually. It's just got a bit of damage to some traces, and I am working on doing that slowly. So that's my long-term project. But I need some motivation to get back to that one, and probably some more skills in electronics. But yeah, that's all I've got to report.
The Commodore Pet Users Group newsletter. How did you get your hands on that thing? Tell me more about this.
Popped up on eBay. I can't remember what it was. Either in the United States or in the United Kingdom, one of the two, and popped up, and I thought, well, that's interesting.
And it's sealed in cellophane.
Yeah, but I think that it is sealed. I'm not sure whether it's sealed by the seller or whether it's sealed original. Like it looks pretty unmarked. So
it seems very strange because no computer users group I ever went to cellophane sealed their newsletters.
Yeah, it could be a real elaborate fake as well. I could have just done my money.
I hope not, but it's a very interesting find. And should you need any assistance scanning that or anything like that, let one of the many people in the group know, because we would love to get that archived if it isn't already archived.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
No
worries. Time to check if the seller is selling another copy of it.
Yeah.
And then another and another and another.
There's a whole stack of blank pages with one printed on the front.
I don't see anything.
All in cellophane.
I don't see anything like that on archive.org, but I mean, unless it's like done by the Toronto Pet Users Group or anything like that, I can't find anything quite like that. But anyway.
Does anybody else have trouble searching through archive.org for stuff? I mean, I find it quite difficult at times to actually find things.
To be fair, it depends on the uploader. So the uploader needs to make sure that there's enough metadata there to enable good searching. So whenever I upload a book or something, I make sure there's a billion meta tags associated with it, and it's tiled appropriately, and you need to spend time on the description. So if someone just scans something and throws it up and puts up a terrible description or a terrible title and puts no metadata, you will never find it unless you do the search text contents part of the search.
Yeah, and you know what's
you will
in
then
it.
actually go inside the OCR version of the text. So yeah, the onus is really on the poster. So it's really, really challenging. So yes, it's hard, Murray, but it can be fixed. So if you know that you're in a users group newsletter, but there's a terrible uploader, you can do a search under text contents, type in your name, and you'll find the article. Yeah, anyway. So that's that.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Thanks, Stephen. And David, tell us what you've been doing.
Trying to find the unmute button. Had a busy month in bits and pieces, nothing concrete. Been getting into Commodore. Seems to be the new thing. Everyone's getting into it. Bought a cassette, data set that was pretty yellow, made it not so yellow. In the sun, just using the sun, none of the horrendous chemicals or anything. Just whacked it out in the sun, and the plastic brightened up pretty quickly. Fixed up, continued working on the 38/486 PC, thanks to Mav for sending through a joystick card the other week, which kind of completes it. Because I've got a Sound Blaster card in there that normally does the joystick, but if you've got the MIDI wavetable card and you use that, try using that with a joystick, it just cuts out. So having the actual joystick card in there sort of takes care of that problem. So that's pretty good. What else? Been working with Dave Kieran again, trying to finalize a new VIC-20 game for the future is 8-bit.
Oh, sweet.
So
I was actually thinking of buying some of his tape software the other day.
yeah, this one's going to come out. So it's another. I keep going every time we talk about Tut-Tut, right? But it's another version of Tut-Tut. This time it's for the VIC-20. So hopefully come out on cartridge. So that should be
on cartridge.
Yeah.
That'll be great. That'll be great.
yeah, I'm hoping it'll be. So we've been so we had the.
You're going to do pre-orders for us, David?
Yeah, I'll let you know. I don't know the release date yet, but it's pretty close to being finished. So
awesome, because we want uniquely serials and we want the low serials for this group. Thanks.
I see if we can find the artwork. We can keep our lookout. No.
Oh wow! Cool.
There's the artwork, but for the cover anyway. I drew up for that, so thanks for that. I can draw in and other things. So that'll be fun. There you go. There he is.
Looks good.
This looks great.
I don't have a screenshot of the game though. probably the crucial part.
We all know the cover always looks better than the game.
Especially on the
Like
VIC-20.
the game. Players look like the game that they are, right?
Yeah, or the VZ for that matter.
So actually, no, it's come out. Actually, it's come out really well. I'll maybe hopefully demonstrate at some point, but because it's gone through a couple of versions now, but so it's sort of going to probably call it the ultimate version, which is
Or penultimate.
the penultimate version for the VIC-20, which is kind of weird, but for something that started off as like a typing game for a magazine, and then went to everywhere. And on the VIC-20, which is probably I guess it's more capable than a ZX81.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can take that to the bank.
The interesting thing is that it's surprising how limited it is, and so I had to go and buy a VIC-20 now to play the final version on a real machine. So I've got a dead VIC-20 that I'm going to fix up for that. But other than that, it's been being developed on the emulator, but it should work. So that's good. So that's pretty close to being done. What else? Yeah, they're the main things. I'm actually starting up writing another game now for the ZX81. So the last 24 hours, the last 40 hours, we've sort of been talking about what we're going to do, and so that's coming together. I've got lots of notes. Well, you can't see because it's white, but so that's the next big thing. Yeah,
cool. Thanks, David.
Lots of bits. Yeah, it's good.
Great. Cameron, what state are you in first?
Still in Tasmania. I came back for a break and I've been here 2 months. So I always manage to avoid lockdowns.
So are you still there from when you left like last year?
No, I came back to Melbourne for like 4 weeks and then the semester ended and I thought, I'll just go back to Tassie for 1 week and then lock down again. It's almost like I'm causing lockdowns every time I come back. So yeah, still in Tassie. So going through some of my Tassie stuff.
Oh, cool.
One thing I was going through is I got a bunch of chips from that shop that I cleaned out. And most of it's garbage, but I did get 5 SID chips.
Ooh.
Which is pretty sweet. I haven't tested them because my power supply for the Commodore 64 is totally dead. Even the AC is dead, which is unusual, right? So yeah, like there's a whole bunch of chips in there, some Paula chips for Amigas, a bunch of Z80s. I'm guessing they work because he was a repair place and they were in the phone properly. So we'll see.
He wasn't hanging on to the dead stuff like everyone else.
Well, this is the thing. So, yeah, he did. It was a friggin' literal rubbish pile. So there's a pretty good chance they're all dead. That on a Nintendo, like there's a Nintendo controller, right? So I took it apart, fixed the joystick, and white powder came out of it. What's going on there?
Oh,
just something's just ground down to nothingness. So
I was going to say, trouble for that sort of thing, but you know.
yeah,
right.
they were importing white powder.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to trying to actually make them go.
Yeah, but he hasn't got it on a $3 Kmart.
Blake, that's right.
Just trying to fix this BBC. Obviously, I've got to replace the riffers. But apparently it's a black screen off the guy that got it off, Gary. So yeah, I don't know. Like I don't have any spare parts for the BBC. So
is that a Model B?
Yeah, Model B.
Yeah, with the power supplies on those, do the output filter caps as well because they're also pretty weak. They're right near right near some of the heat sinks up the other end of it.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, well, I was wondering about that, like how many of the other ones I need.
Yeah, I had a batch of about 7 or 8 of them, and every single power supply had at least 2 or 3 of those that were weak. So,
okay.
So if you're going to be in there, just do them as well.
Yeah, I might as well. Just have to order them. Yeah, so it's issue 4. That's reasonably early, isn't it, for BBC?
Yeah. Are the RAM chips socketed or no?
Yes, everything, like a whole bunch of it's socketed. I'm not sure if you can see.
What about the ports?
The RAM off the back, there's like 5 socketed ones and a bunch of other chips that aren't socketed. I'm not sure which is. I think someone's modded it, obviously. They put a little volume knob and headphone out, and they've done some other replacement of RAM chips, I think, because it's all inconsistent whether it's got a socket or not.
Yeah.
All the main ships seem to be subbing, the big ones. So that'll be fun. Like my BBC Melbourne works, and I've got a master and quite a few Archimedes and whatnot, which also explode. And my BBC in Melbourne exploded as well, and all the riffers and stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of fun.
Cool.
Because I grew up with BBCs. Like that's what all the schools here in Tassie had. I remember walking past skip bins full of BBCs, and once I grabbed like 5 of them, going ah, and I just filled my boot up with BBCs. This is like in like 1998 or something when no one gave a shit about any of this. So I filled it up, and I had like a full EcoNet with the server and everything. I just couldn't keep it all. So that was tragic. But another thing I was going to fix is this Nintendo, but it works. So has anyone had that where you're convinced that you've got something that is broken and you've never bothered to turn it on for years, and then I turn it on and it works fine? So because I bought that off a guy who got most of his stuff from America, so it was all NTSC. I think I just assumed it was NTSC, so I don't know. Oh yeah, I got the double disk drive for the BBCs as well. Pretty cool. One question I want to ask is, so here's the cover. So it's the earlier BBC microcomputer without the British Broadcasting Corporation when they had to change it for a lawsuit because someone else has had the name BBC. So that's pretty cool. That's early. But it's got all these pretty deep scratches and stuff all through it. So I'm thinking Brasso. Is that something you can like? Because it's pretty thick perspex.
Yeah, the problem is if it's deep and you don't go flat, it's going to be all wavy and it's going to look crap.
That looks pretty crap right now. Like it's a
yeah, you'd be surprised. Sometimes you think it looks crap until you've touched it and it looks even worse.
Well, I didn't like was it RMC or someone put some like Brasso their front in it.
Is the BBC etched from underneath or printed from underneath?
Well, the printing is underneath it. So
yeah,
that's one.
I would start. You would have to use a sanding block to go and work your way down in you know to something a bit finer, and then get the shine back. Because if you just try to polish out the areas, they're going to be too deep.
Yeah, there's only really one deep section, so
yeah. I would just mask it off and go with sandpaper block all the way across, and then work my way back.
Yeah, right.
Well, another option would be if you find someone that can do laser cut a new one, and they can often actually etch the logo in there if you can get a scan of the logo.
Yeah, if it was worse, I would. But this isn't too bad except for that one deep one. So the rest of it is warped a bit. So I'm not sure if that's normal for perspex.
Your standards are too high.
It's patina.
I wouldn't have thought you could sand perspex and get a clear finish on it, though.
No. Well, yeah, that's what
I the headlights and all that sort of stuff on
cars.
So
it does work pretty well. You can get a perfect reflection.
That's right.
Sanding, but
yeah.
Something like Brasso.
It's a lot of effort, though.
I gotta say, I agree with Danny. Like, I mean, you can have that, and I gotta say that doesn't look too bad. I mean, that looks like a machine that's maybe 40 years old, which is what it is.
I think if it was a brand new Perfect and it had a few scratches on it, you might consider it. But
that scratch wasn't there. I don't think my friend who picked it up for me just dumped it in his pile of crap, and I think that's what scratched it. So,
I'm seeing a well-positioned sticker on that spot.
Same thing. Put a sticker on it.
Well, I got one of those underlays for like WordStar and stuff.
Or if you're going to list it on eBay, get the manual and lay it on exactly that spot.
That's cool. It's still got the wrong
damage in transit.
Yeah, everything's in transit.
Was it like that when I sold it to you?
Is that normal? That like the speaker is actually stuck on the cover with double-sided tape, or is that just someone sticking it on?
Most of mine were just floating around loose on the keyboard part there.
Yeah, so that's what I figured. I don't remember them how they used to be attached, but yeah, it's pretty solid machine. I always like BBCs.
I love how you clean the keyboard on them, and it's just extreme exercising. Basically, belt the crap out of them, and they just come back to life again.
Right. Okay. I was going to ask you about the keyboard. Like, are they okay to pull out without snapping things?
Don't even bother. Just don't even use any like contact cleaner or anything. Just bang, 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 and they all come back to life.
Yeah, okay.
They spent so much money on that keyboard, it's not funny.
Oh, yeah.
Are they mechanical switches or?
Yes.
Yeah, no, okay.
Yeah, they're individuals. So
That was why the machine was so expensive, because they thought if it's going into a school, it needs to be
last.
robust.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing how durable they were. Like, I never remember broken BBCs. That's one question. That Nintendo, I need to plug it into a projector, but it comes out black and white. So is that just old hardware, new projector not being quite within spec of each
I would
other?
say so. I mean,
Yeah.
RCA out should be in color.
I mean, it's
out
crystal as on this CRT, but I didn't expect that. Right?
Unless it's an NTSC, is that an Australian or not?
Well, I didn't think it was, but it's working fine.
Does that say Mattel version on the front?
Yeah, so
that's Australian.
So yeah, it's I think it's just new projectors aren't very tolerant of old signals.
Yeah.
Yeah, my sister's got a tourism thing. She wants to set up some old like Nintendos and stuff on her projectors in a conference room for the kids to play. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, there's a special projector available on the marketplace at the moment that might display that.
Oh yes! Oh yeah, there is a special projector. It's a VIC 20.
That's for the Commodore, right? You can't use it for Nintendo. I'm sure there's another one there for Nintendo, but not for me.
Yeah, a can of paint in a few minutes. I'm sure there will be.
Might be a takedown notice on this video.
Oh no! That was the camera flash. It wasn't a can of paint.
100% original. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. So I haven't been doing a heap. I might do another school setup soon. I like to take about 5 machines into primary schools every now and then. That's always a fun outlet for insane collecting.
When was the last time you did that?
2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So,
I was going to say, if you've done a recent one, it would be awesome if you could take a photo of the event that you did.
yeah, well, I've got all the photos of my older ones. So I did the local hall and the local school. So I want to go back to my original primary school and get that going. But it's fun doing public events. Really focuses what you got to fix and when. Just don't take still wrapped games because they will open them. I know that for a very specific reason because they did. Yeah, so I'll put a link to the photos if you care.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Before and after, sealed and unsealed shots.
I did get to play ninja golf on my 7800 finally. So in a way, I kind of liked it. So it's fine. I'm not really that into sealed stuff anyway. Luckily.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Cameron. Now, Mike, tell me what you've been up to.
Well, I think you know one thing I've been up to.
No, I don't know anything about it. You should tell me all about it because I don't.
You don't. Well, I became the proud owner of an Apple IIe Platinum today. So there was a portion of my day playing with that and reorganising the room a little bit.
Did the seller? Is it a working system?
The seller made sure it was a working system. He put a lot of effort into replacing reefer caps and other bits and pieces and testing it. So I would give the seller an A++ rating.
Did the disk drive that you bought from another person, did it work?
It did indeed. Actually, I have 2, and I haven't tested the one I got from you, Danny, yet.
It definitely works.
I remember you saying, yep. I tested the half height one. I ran out of a bit of time today, so by the time I got home, had a few other things to do. But I've assembled the big mess of wires, and that's awesome. Love it. It worked perfect. First shot. So once I had that working, popped in the CPM card I got and downloaded some CPM boot disk, and bang, it worked.
I'll just give you a tip, and I'm probably the only one in the world who's done it. But that SD card slot, you can accidentally misinstall the card, and I actually snapped the card in half.
Oh, no.
So be very careful. I don't know, because I contacted, I can't recall the guy's name. I contacted him and I said, I've done this. And he said, you're the only person in the world who's ever done this.
Or the only one that's admitted it.
Yeah, that's probably more like it.
Yeah.
But I was impressed with how easy it was. I mean, I just took it, without even reading the manual, I just took the SD out, put it in the Mac, copied, created a folder, copied the disk images into the folder I named, plugged it back in, and there it is on the menu. So super easy. So kudos for him.
Does everybody know what we're talking about?
Floppy emu.
Yeah,
the floppy emu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
what a great
really good.
Or the floppy emu, as they call it.
Other than that, yeah.
The Americans think it's emulator because it's a floppy emulator, so they call it an emu. They don't associate with emus.
Makes sense. But yeah, so I've had a little bit of fun playing with it, but not a huge amount. So you can guarantee that most nights after work this week, I'll be in here, getting to learn the Apple II. It's a really fun little machine. I can't wait to actually play with it, and it comes out. Image is beautiful on the 1084S too.
Oh, great!
So,
Even
did you not retrograde it for him?
Oh no! Oh, no, the seller did not.
Oh, the seller, sorry.
No, the seller did not retrograde it. And to make matters worse, he didn't even take off the permanent marker.
Oh no!
It was covered in permanent marker, that particular unit. Just saying.
You know what? I may leave it on there because it's all part of the history of the machine, isn't it? Really? So
that's a funny story, and it might be interesting to Danny. So for those who don't know, I've got a DigiCard Apple II network, blah, 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 on eBay at the moment. Now, that computer, I think, was one of those DigiCard network computers. And it's got the serial number written on the gap between the case and the lid. Like, A2, blah, blah, blah. It's like this long. And I don't know if that's important to the networking side of the thing. And because there's all these numbers and letters and stuff that are all in there. I don't know if that has anything to do with the network ability, but most of the ones that had the network card in it had these horrible writing all over it. So might be important to this network. Anyway.
Well, I'll keep it on there, and if he contacts you,
if Danny needs it when he buys my auctions,
that's right.
You can find out what the code is.
Yeah, I think that network thing's going to go beyond my price range.
Well, the leading bidder, and I kid you not, this thing weighs 20 kilos. The one with the hard drive in it weighs 20 kilos, and I think that it's from the leading bidder is from America, so he's ready to pay the $300+ postage. So it'll be interesting to see how these auctions go. So if you guys know my eBay account, follow those two weird auctions and see how they go.
I'll bid him up for you.
Yes, please. On behalf of eBay Australia, I have to say that was a joke.
Get stuck with it, Danny.
So you're the silicon avatar?
I am. Who asked that?
It was Anthony.
Oh, Anthony, yes, that's me. So you can, but I gotta say, those Apple IIs and Commodore 64s, those are my last ones.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You bid on them. You better bid on it while you can.
Oh, are they rare, are they?
Oh, yeah, they're the last ones I've got.
Anthony's down to his last 50 Commodore 64s to sell, so get in now.
Is it numbered?
I was going to say, you should be numbering them all. Unique serial numbers.
Yeah, so for those watching this stream, I'm going to delay this for 7 days. I wouldn't rush into bidding on the auctions, except for those two network things, which I don't have another one of.
You should paint them gold to actually increase the value of the 64.
It could be like a limited edition special 1/millionth Apple IIe Platinum.
That's
Is that
right.
what you're suggesting?
With the on the plaque.
Oh yeah, and I could spray paint it like a beautiful beige color.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Anyway, moving right along. Mike, anything else?
Yeah, the other thing which you guys have probably seen me spamming about is the speed guide, CPM on the 64. So this I haven't actually showed one of these yet, but I got these made by PCBWay. Fully assembled because I did not want to do that drag soldering or individual. Just not up for that kind of stuff. So
I was just about to compliment you on your soldering.
I did that by hand, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, without power, it was actually an iron in the fire. Yeah, no way. I envy everyone out there who can do that kind of work. Like, you just have my ultimate admiration. But yeah, so I caved and I got these made by PCBWay. Took forever. Like there's about a month and a half between the time you give them all the files and all that kind of stuff and the time it sort of turns up in your letterbox. But it's just such a cool little device. Dirk has put in a lot of time and effort to debug the original CPM cartridge, and because it is so stable, it's just allowed me to exercise my strange obsession with CPM on the 64, and it's actually not bad. It probably would have been a sellable product back in the day if it had been stable.
Mike,
I've been.
Sorry, Mike. It's Anthony here. So, do you get PCBWay to assemble it all for you? But what about? Do they go out and source all the parts as well?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they did that.
Yeah. If you tick the assembly service, they'll go out and get all of the parts for you. So. I'm
going to assume it increases the cost significantly.
It does. Yeah. The cool thing is they actually give you the price that you paid for the parts, and I compared those to like DigiKey and all that, and you're only, at least with PCBWay, it's only like a few bucks extra compared to say DigiKey or whatever. So honestly, if you just may as well. Look, it might be different for other components, but the components on that board, it was just such a small difference. It's like, man, just do it. So.
Okay, and you just got that one card made for you?
No, unfortunately, you have to get 5.
Okay. All right.
I'll probably end up selling the others. I think Dave Merton might be interested in one, but so one might be spoken for. But yeah, the rest, bar one, I'll obviously keep for myself. I'll probably put up maybe in the group for sale if anyone's interested in one. I don't want to make anything off them. So my original intention was, seeing as I had to get 5, was to basically sell them at cost plus about, say, $15 per unit, and then give the $15 to Dirk, so that he gets some, something for his hard-earned effort.
So who actually programs them?
I do. Well, I programmed. So I bought a CPLD. A JTAG programmer, and so all of them have been flashed with the latest firmware that he released.
Okay, so you can do that after it's assembled.
Yeah. Yep. So so when they rocked up, I just plugged them all into the firmware, into the JTAG programmer, one after another, and went bang, 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 bang. And I've just been subsequently testing them to make sure they work. So this is mine, the one clear case that I had, and it works on the 2 of the 64s I've got here. One SX and for some reason fails on another SX, that's the rat shit SX, funnily enough. But the regular machine that I use all the time, the regular 64 I use all the time, I spent way too many hours playing Zork on this through the CPM Zork. It's just so stable, and Zork is such an addictive game.
Yeah, it's good. So just fill me in quickly. I missed the bit. How much is this thing worth? The CPM mod?
I think all up for all 5, it was like $300. So
$60 each.
yeah, so it'll work out. So that's why I figure out if I sell them for say 75, $15 goes to Dirk per unit. $15 per unit goes to Dirk, and then like I said, that just covers the actual cost of me making the units, and I'm happy. I don't want to profit from it. It was really just so that I could get one for me and relive my CPM youth.
Cool, great. Thanks, Mike. Stuart, what are you doing?
I just had to unmute. Haven't done a lot. I've been playing with my IMSI 8080, trying to get that running. I've had a few problems with the power supply. Been trying to get Altair Basic running on it. Bought myself an oscilloscope. I had an old oscilloscope, but I bought a little one. This little thing here, 200 meg. I can put a link in the description for anyone that's interested. What's cool about it too is it's got a composite video output as well, which means that I can plug it into an old Commodore monitor or something and view it for a bit larger screen. So that's cool, and it's got it saves the images as well, so you can upload them to the internet, or if you wanted to do YouTube or something, you could have picture in picture and talk about what you're doing. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, pretty much just been writing a bit of assembly language for my IMSI, trying to get it running properly. I've just been working on it now while we've been talking here. What else? Probably told you guys last month, but I'm not sure if I've got something else in. I've been collecting some old modems. So if you remember the old dial-up modems, I got myself an original Hayes modem, the first one from 1980 in box, which is pretty cool. So my plan with that is to connect that original Hayes AT modem, 300 baud modem, to my K-Pro running CPM. And the other person that was talking before, I've been playing a bit of Zork on my K-Pro. If you guys know what a K-Pro is, it's good fun. And I got, which I might have mentioned last time, the first Hayes modem they made was actually for a IMSI 8080, not for a PC or anything. So I've got one of those as well. So I might have also mentioned about using ATA's analog phone adapters, so I can actually simulate a phone line and dial up. And yeah, just that's pretty much it really. Working, this and that, not going anywhere in lockdown. But yeah, look, just trying to get one interesting thing with my power supply in the IMSI keeps playing up a bit. It's an old linear power supply. It's got capacitors about the size of like a can. And it was I pulled it apart because it was intermittent, and of course now I pulled it out of the case. It's like working fine now. So, but the big capacitors that are in there and dies, they're bolted in, so there might have been some loose connections. But what I have noticed too is I think maybe the voltage regulators were cutting out because the voltage was too high. And what I observed is, because I've got solar on my house, I might have 235, 240 volts coming in. And when the solar kicks in, I get about 250 volts. And then the secondary on the transformer for those electronics guys is supposed to be about 8 volts, and that goes into like 7805 regulators and things like that. And I'm getting about 9.5 volts. So I think I'm getting like a thermal overload causing the regulators to cut out, because the thing would just randomly turn itself on and off. And I used to just like not leave it on for too long because it would crash. So, but I'm not game to like wind the voltage up. I bought a Variac from JCar so I can wind the voltage back a bit until I adjust some of the wiring on the tappings on the transformer. But
are there any cooling heat sinks on your 7805s?
Yeah, they're all got. The thing is, the way S100 bus works. So that's a ROM card, right? So it's got like a regulator. The way they work is the cards get 8 volts DC, and it's supposed to be 8, and then each card has its own 5 volt regulator on it. So it's not like one regulator that's playing up. But look, it's not playing up anymore. So I'm not about to wind the voltage up and fry something because I don't want to fry anything. So that's what I've been doing. I've got a ROM card, which that was what I just showed you there. So I wrote a bit of assembly code to make the lights flash, and I put that in there as a program. And what I was trying to do is, if any of you guys are into programming and in assembly and stuff, there's a website asm80.com, which allows you to like basically write and assemble Z80, 8080, things like that. I think 6502 as well, through the browser, and then you can compile it, and you can even download the files, so you can sort of muck around on an emulator for a browser, which is pretty cool. So that's it for me.
Cool. Well, we're running out of people, so Andrew, what have you been up to?
I guess that's me, is it?
Yes, that is you.
I'll share that link that Dave was talking about earlier. Where is it? Lost it. Yeah, here it is. So that's Turbo Rascal's syntax error is what he was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
For development of in Pascal-like language.
You've sent us a photo of an oscilloscope.
And that was the one I bought. That was this one.
Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Okay.
And I haven't put the link there yet in case anyone wanted to buy one. Only a couple $100 is quite a nice unit, so I thought I'd share that anyway.
But it is a nice oscilloscope. Next.
Yeah.
The next link down. Next link down.
Oh yeah, cool.
Well,
yes.
That's sort of exciting in the VZ world because it should make development of stuff a lot easier.
I've heard this talked about on the Retro Computing Roundtable, this particular language. So yeah, cool.
Yeah, I haven't got around to playing with it yet, but I plan to do so. We'll see how we go.
Great.
And the other thing I got hold of was one of these. Now I can't see himself anymore, but
it's a piece of paper that vanishes before our very eyes.
Yeah, you got to turn your virtual background off so that it shows up.
yeah, it's the old. Where is it? Where's it gone? Settings. Here we go. Background. Turn that off. None. There you go. You should be able to see that now.
Yeah.
Microcomp 2 project build.
Yeah, so a guy called Brian put this together. It's like a
Cut down Tech 1. That's what it is.
It's like a not very useful cut down Tech 1. But it seemed interesting, so I grabbed one.
But that's Microcomp 2. Isn't there a Microcomp 1, which is the original one, which has even less components, which is a not very useful computer, but quite interesting considering there's about 5 chips on it, and it's a computer that actually works. So if anyone's interested in making a computer work from, with the bare minimum, that's a good start.
Yeah,
not that it do much other than flash lights, but you get to write the code and make the lights flash. So.
They actually got 3 chips.
3 chips. Oh, sorry, I said 5. That's nearly like double of what it's got in there.
yeah, you doubled it up.
This one's got a Z80, a 2732, and a 74LS273.
Yep, that's it.
Well, that one doesn't have any.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I wonder if that board could be made smaller with a surface mount Z80, and I don't think a 2732 exists in surface mount.
That's about a third the size of the original.
Yep.
So he's already been cut down.
But yes, I think you could. I think that'd be a great challenge. Take it up, Horst.
Yeah, that one came up in the Tech 1 group that I'm part of over there. So
cool.
That's about it, really. Haven't done much more than that.
And I think we're running out of participants. Nigel, you're a late addition, but what have you been up to in the last 2 months? We haven't seen you for a bit.
Just sorting and testing hardware mostly. Yeah, going through my mountains of gear. I think I made a post about buying another 16 Amigas. As you do.
Yeah, as you do. Absolutely.
No.
Why buy one when you can buy 16?
Yeah, of course.
Well, when you say 16 Amigas, tell me like 16 watts.
Oh, well, is it 8 A1200s, 4 CD32s, 4 A500s, an A500 Plus, and an Amiga 3000.
Are you starting a school network?
Well, that's to add to the other 25 I have here or something.
So was this a single lot?
Yeah. Saru,
wow.
Saru Bailey. He went back to Spain, so he was trying to sell his gear individually and that, and he was going to put it up on eBay. And I said, "Well, what do you take for the lot?"
Did you get a good deal? Good deal?
Yeah. Well, some of it needs work, and that the A3000 wasn't working, and the A500 Plus wasn't working. Battery damage is, normal for those machines. So they're the A1200s are being recapped. We're just waiting on caps and that for them, and same with CD32s. So
cool.
but that's been 2 months now.
That's a big haul.
Yeah, there's a fair chunk of change tied up in that. So I've been a bit peeved off that I haven't been able to get the parts to get them out the door again, but it is what it is at the moment. You can't really complain.
Do you move them on eBay or?
Oh, no, I normally sell them on Facebook, yeah. I've already got most of them sold anyway.
Oh, cool.
People have been hitting me up for them, but other than that, I've been going through my sound cards and that, making lists of them. I was at 25 different models of ISA, 27 different models of PCI. 22 different models of PCI graphics cards.
Sounds like a perfect lockdown work.
Oh, well, up in North Queensland, we haven't gone into lockdown at all, apart from 3 days, I think it was, in the whole pandemic.
Yeah. Well, it's taken me 20 years, I think, to do what I've been doing during lockdown.
You're not anywhere near Gladstone at all, are you?
Oh, no, further north, up in Cairns.
Cairns, okay.
Yeah, then what else I've been doing? Going through my sound cards, and I found an old Aztec Sound Galaxy NX. Sound Galaxy NX, not the Pro. Yeah, so that's a nice 8-bit ISA sound card, and that'll go into probably a 386 build. And then I did a build this week, which was a P3 650 with RAM bus RAM.
M-Bus.
Yeah, two 12 megabyte Voodoo graphics cards in SLI, and a Maxi Studio Isis PCI sound card that has the Roland licensed sound, wavetables on it. So that's a nice little setup.
Yeah, there's some names I haven't heard. I can't. I remember the Aztec Sound Galaxy, and I'm like, what is this brand? It sort of popped up there in the 90s. It came in, left. See you later.
Yeah, well, the Aztec Sound Galaxy NX, that sells for about $250 because it's a stereo ad lib card. It does Sound Blaster 1.5, all that sort of stuff. So Disney Sound Source. Yeah. Then I picked up a Roland LA PCI as well the other week. So that's sitting in my 486. Trading my DS401 for a PC MIDI and a Dreamwave, or was it? Yeah, Dreamwave 2, I think it is, or something. Yeah, Dream Blaster 2. The wavetable card for it as well. Yeah.
Cool. Very good. Nice
Lots
work.
of stuff.
Well, I have now run out of people to harass for information, so now it's down to general chat. So is there anything in particular you'd like to talk about, not including VIC-20 projecting units?
I've got a question for the group or for the Brains Trust, and it's a really stupid one, to be honest.
No such thing.
Floppy disks. I've just spent about 2 hours with WD-40 to get one label off. There's got to be a better way of doing it.
You can
don't say buy new ones.
IPA.
Why would you do that?
IPA.
What's your aim? Why do you care?
I just like everyone, I think we've all got the SD cards and the solid state solutions and stuff. There's just something nice actually booting from a floppy. So I was
Well,
playing.
I agree.
I think he
But
meant
why does
about
the
the
label
label.
matter? Why does the label matter?
Oh, yeah, because I want to make my own labels for them, make them a little bit more professional, you know.
You can,
Oh,
you can,
okay.
you can stick it on top of the other label.
Sticking it right over the top of the old one. That's
Exactly.
No, because then you got the bump, you know. So I was thinking of Goo Gone or something.
No. Jump down to your supermarket and grab Orange Power.
Yep.
I haven't
Just
got
use
one.
Orange Power.
Yeah.
Okay.
Orange Power.
Soak the label in Orange Power and
couple
let
of
it sit
drips
for a
of-
few minutes.
The
It'll just
other thing
break
that
the
works
adhesive.
really well is eucalyptus oil.
Yeah, that's what I use.
Gets rid of all
that tends to
the
be expensive, but
sticky
yeah.
residue and stuff.
Don't use Orange Power on certain retro plastics, as I found out.
Look, I'm not looking at doing like hundreds. I really want to just do like 20 or 30 of them and just make up some labels.
You can get floppy ones.
Yeah. They'll fit in any drive as well.
They will.
Yeah.
It's a drink coaster.
There's one bit of information last month or the month before. I spent a lot of time talking about these stainless steel mouth balls. Yeah, well, I can tell you, forget about it. 25 mil is not enough clearance for a Mac Plus mouse ball. So for those who don't know, the Macintosh Plus, the Macintosh 512, Macintosh, Apple IIe, the mice have 1-inch mouse balls, and 1 inch is 25.4 millimeters. 25 mil ain't close enough.
You need to coat it with 0.4 mil of rubber.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just all out of 0.2 on diameter, but anyway.
They should be able to get the right size ball from a bearings seller. That they sell individually.
Oh yeah,
balls.
It'll be more than the mouth's worth.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, there is such a demand for 25.4 millimeter bearings that if you buy like 200 kilos of them, you can get a pretty good deal. So I gotta say, I'm not super keen.
You need a big slingshot with those bearings.
Anyway, so don't go rushing out to get your 24 mil stainless steel balls.
I'm going to have to duck off, guys. Good to catch up with you again.
Thanks, Scott. Take care.
Take care.
Catch ya.
Yeah, same here, guys. Been good listening to all you guys this time, and I'll catch us hopefully next time.
See you in a month, Alan.
How many mice do you have without balls?
I've all my mice have got plastic balls, so
safest.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do realize, Anthony, you just sell those ones without the balls as female mice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's got any 1-inch rubber balls, feel free to sell them to me.
How many do you need?
About 8.
Okay.
Not 200 kilos worth.
Too small.
They're too small. So
so 25.4 being an inch is possibly okay then.
Yes, that's correct.
Have you checked bearings? They might not be that expensive. Or have you?
Yes, as I have indicated, yes, they are freely available in quantities of 200 kilos.
Wow.
That's a lot of bearings.
And considering I need 8 to 10, I'm not keen. And to make matters worse, like when you move the mouse and the stainless steel version isn't particularly great.
That don't work. No.
So it just doesn't have the friction on the surface that you need. So if I sold rubberized mouse pads with these mice,
It's starting to go this far.
look. So this is what happens when you buy lots from schools, when kids think that the rubberized balls are great to throw at people or what they do.
Yeah.
So I've got like a dozen mice that don't have balls because they must have been some fun accessory.
The kids steal them. Yeah.
Anyway.
You could get the 1-inch ones and then acid wash them to give them a bit of a texture, I guess.
Yep, I could.
Bit of rust on
I'm
it.
kind of losing a lot of interest in these.
I've actually got a bearing shop in town that would probably sell them to me by the single unit.
1-inch balls.
Probably, yeah.
You should ask them, and then I'll get one from you, and then we get, or you.
I'll only double the price. It'll be fine. I won't.
You actually have a Mac Classic? Oh, sorry, not a Mac Classic, a Mac Plus or an Apple IIe that might have this type of mouse.
I already found a ball online for you. I'll send you a link.
Really?
That was quick.
Yeah, hang on. I
Is
just
it
typed it on my other
Is it $89?
No, it's $10.85.
I hope this isn't the guy I bought from.
Plus postage.
Anyway, all this ball talk is getting to me. Is there anything else we should be talking about?
To answer my bill for you, I just put in. I just had to buy some M2 and M2 2.5 and 3 screws. I only need like 2 of each, but the place I just bought from, Something Fasteners, where is it? Classic Fasteners, minimum purchase of 200 each. And so don't get me wrong, they weren't very expensive. It's like $4 a bag for 200, but I've got like 600 M2 screws or various M screws coming through. I only need like 2 of each, so that's what you got to do. So just to find the right ones. And before you say it, Bunnings don't stock those sizes, and neither do JCar. So
I know I've had to check for Bunnings for M3s. They don't have them at all. I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
At this point, this is when you ring them and ask for samples. I only need a couple of each just to sample them first.
I'm actually planning to build a weird Micro ATX-esque case. I was thinking for the next, just building it out of wood, sort of like the old cases that people had for the Apple ones. And I keep looking at it saying, this is perfectly possible, but I also feel like I must be insane for wanting this.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm glad we all agree that I'm insane. 9 out of 10 psychiatrists agree.
Yes. Question for David Merton. Dave, with your VIC-20, the new VIC-20 build you're doing, are you going to 3D print the case? Are you going to repurpose a VIC-20 and keyboard for it? Because I looked at the 8-bit guys and I think, great machine, but G was let down by that 3D print of his VIC-20 case.
Yeah, well, he did a slightly different one though. So his one, if memory serves, didn't have a cassette port or a user port. If I remember.
No, that's right. No, he didn't. Yeah.
Well, the one I've got actually is it's the whole board. So it's actually got the user port and the cassette port as well. I've got a mech board that I've done for it. So I'm just waiting on 1 or 2 more components for that. In regards to a case, I do have a fairly bashed up case I'm going to use because I'm going to mount a whole heap of extra stuff inside the case, and instead of having things like SD to IECs or Pi 1541s and memory expansions hanging out of it, I want to mount that all internally. And so I've got this case that's missing all sorts of bits and pieces, and so it'll get chopped and done there. But I have ordered just today, actually. You were talking about 3D printing a case. I found a kit that will actually extend my 3D printer bed size from 200 by 200 to 400 by 400 with a Z-axis of 500. So I can actually then do a bread bin case on that bed size. I'd have about 10 mil to spare either side. So I'm actually tempted to actually design up a bread bin case and print it, but geez, it'll take a long time to print.
This is not a joke, and I'm not being sarcastic, but had you considered getting a 64 case and just painting it?
Yeah, well, I suppose I could. I mean, the cutout for the expansion port is still in a lot of those earlier 64 cases, if I'm not mistaken. So
I know a good painter. I can recommend a good painter for you.
I don't know if it's very good, but
ask anyway. I won't say.
So is that the blue board from the guy from Tin?
Yeah. Hang on.
Because I just ordered one the other day.
He also does the 60 clone as well.
Guys, I gotta go.
Thanks, Mav.
Yeah.
Dan.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I ordered one the other day. Good, excellent. I got a I got a VIC 20 that didn't work, but transfer as much of that as possible over to that. So I ordered that in a kit of parts. So.
Well, I mean, most of the parts, that's the beauty of the VIC 20, apart from the VIC chip and the ROMs, but you can adapt modern ROMs to the ROMs that go in there. Apart from the VIC chip, everything is available or adaptable. Unlike the 64, where you've got to get the CIAs and the PLA and the SID and the CPU, because that was
6510.
Yeah, 6510 or 8500. Or was it 8500?
8500 was for the 64C one.
Yeah. So I mean, they're pin compatible, but the point is, it was only that machine will do it. Whereas the VIC 20, 6502, they're still in production, and there is, I believe, with this board, you can actually use with a small modification, you can use the WDC 65SO2.
Okay, I didn't realize it, because I've seen an adapter to use it.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you could use it straight up.
Yeah, it's not 100% pin compatible, but they've made it such that it can be done. And there's also an adapter, and I've got one of these. I just haven't used it yet, to take the what's the 16-bit version? The 65.
816.
Yeah, 65C16 or whatever it is, the one that's in the GS.
816. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So there is an adapter to put one of those in a VIC 20. So
Why? Why would anyone do that?
To run GSOS on your VIC 20.
Why not, I think, is the question here. I saw the board, it was like $5. I've gone, yeah, $5. I'm already getting other stuff.
So this is the dip version of the 65816.
Yes,
there's an adapter that you can change a 6502 socket to stick a 65816 in it.
Yep.
I am very much unfamiliar with this product, but I've got to get one.
Where is it?
Does it actually work as a 65CO2 as well?
Yes, it does.
So, wow, that's an amazing product. So because the 65816 is very much available. You can get that now. So what's crazy is, oh, wow. And how much is that?
Oh, it was less than $10.
And where did you get it?
It was on Tindy. It was a guy that does. Hang on, I think it was this one here. Left my glasses at work. Well, it's either that one or it's this one here.
He's just showing us random things.
Well,
this here is a VIC 20.
I've got all of these bits and pieces from the same guy. It's just ROM adapters and RAM adapters and just various junk, like was it an 8-slot ROM adapter for a VIC 20 and a replacement RAM board for a 64C.
Yeah, it's really a problem. Like I don't know. Like you were asking me if I had a spare part. I've got a Magic Voice cartridge for a 64 that I stole the 6525.
I've got heaps of those.
Maybe it's a 6526. It's the triport adapter.
That's a 6525. I've got a tube full of those new old stock if you need one.
I've already paid a fortune, and I've imported one from Europe. But thanks for letting me know in advance.
I've got about 15 of the bastards.
Oh God. Anyway, I think I needed one for my P500, my Commodore P500. I'm pretty sure that's needed a 6525. And yeah, so I ordered one from Europe, and I'm waiting for it to arrive. It was like $50, so that's about what they're worth, allegedly.
Well, I'll have to start putting them on eBay because I've got a tube of them. They were used in the CD32, CDTV, and Magic Voice, and the 1551.
That's what I used it for. The 1551.
Yeah. So, because they're like hen's teeth too. So.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for letting me know.
Sorry,
but I might take one off you for how much?
sure.
$5.
Something like that.
We'll do a deal.
We'll work something out.
We'll work something out. Cool. All right. Anybody else before we wind this up?
Anthony, have you bought the balls yet?
Have I done what?
Have you bought the balls yet? I put a link on there for eBay. You can get a 25.4.
Yeah, I see it. I looked at it. Look, I gotta say, it's from China. I don't know.
It may not be exactly 25.
Do I really want to wait till the 26th of November to get this ball? And then
you'd have to cut
horribly
it open and not nick it.
by the fact that I have to sell rubberized mouse pads to my customers.
Don't worry about the plus or minus 5 mil tolerance on the balls.
Is there a plus of 5 mil?
No, I'm just saying. I'm sure there is.
It's 20%. It's 20% tolerance.
Oh, there you go.
No, it doesn't actually say that. It's for a crappy little wheel. It's a great idea, actually. It's a great idea to source it from what do you call it? A conveyor roller. Yeah.
You do have to cut it out, which if you nick the edge of it, it's game over. So it wouldn't be that easy.
Yeah, I'm not super interested. I'll give you the tip.
The other thing is, couldn't you just like wrap some tape around the rollers of the inside of the?
What a great
idea. Put a bit of heat shrink on it, maybe.
Yep, it's
Yeah, if there was a way to rubberize the 25 millimeter balls already with a 0.2 millimeter layer. Yeah,
There's a rubberized paint you can buy. I've actually got some.
But getting it perfectly around it is a different story of equal.
I don't think people really
that's
care.
what you use the sandpaper for.
Australia.
Polish it down at the end.
I think it might be easier we all pitch in and buy Anthony 8 mice with belt balls in there.
It doesn't have to be perfectly round. It just means the cursor jumps every now and then. It just across the screen.
Depending on the rollers, depending on how much cruft there is on the rollers, it might still jump
Exactly, it might just work.
I reckon we've been talking about this mouse improvement for a year now.
I remember it was pretty early
I reckon
on.
it was about a year now we talked about this, and I still haven't got anywhere. But I still have those 10 mice with no balls. So, anyway.
So I was going to ask, just because I've had a little difficulty finding information about this. Did anyone actually use Digital Research DOS?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dr. DOS.
Is it worth it, I guess?
Yeah.
Like, we're in this era where we can have any DOS we like from archive.org or whatever. Is it worth having DR DOS?
Well, is it worth playing with old computers? If it's fun, it's worthwhile.
I wouldn't
So,
describe
something
DR
different.
DOS as a fun thing, though.
Yeah.
6 was better than DOS 5. Version 6, DR6 was better than DOS 5, but after that, I think it's not worth it.
If you don't want to run Windows, it's perfectly fine to run DRDOS, basically.
I was under the impression Windows 3.1 final release didn't have that kill code. Did it have other bugs?
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
One that didn't like it, but after that they fixed it. So 3.11's fine with DRDOS, I think.
What about 3.0?
No, 3.0 is fine with it as well.
I think it's worthy of an investigation. There were some commands that were really superior in DR DOS, but Microsoft caught up eventually, and then they abandoned it completely.
And it had the disk, like compression stuff on it pretty early on as well. That worked pretty well. It's kind of pointless if you've got like an SD card, you know?
I think it's great, especially on the XT, to compress his entire SD card.
This is what I was planning to run it on, though. The XT. I was thinking, do I want like DR DOS or I just want PC DOS 5?
Well, just go entirely useless and use Jam.
PC
DOS. Oh my god.
CPM 86.
A friend of mine had the Amstrad 1640 with a 20 or 40 meg hard disk. It must have been a 20. And then they had Superstore or Stacker or one of those crappy compression programs. That computer was unusable. It's just like, it just had no available memory, and all it did was just write to the disk.
I mean, it wasn't Amstrad, so was it usable in the first place?
Oh, it was a terrible computer.
Also,
I
I
think
know
we're
it's probably
that
a few.
bad.
Sorry, well, of course, I know it's a few versions after, but I'm sure I've got a copy of DR.7, a box copy of it floating around here somewhere. If I find it, if you're interested, you're welcome to it. I just don't know where it actually is at the moment, but it was one of the things I actually kept from my Novell days, all the spiffs and stuff, and I do remember having a box copy here somewhere. So I've
And
tried
of course, you would have had it from Novell because they were integrating it with NetWare.
That's right.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that? Like Caldera or whatever that dude's name is, Mr. Novell. He was really into putting it to Microsoft, and then he just disappeared. Whatever happened to that guy?
Well, that was Jack. Can't think of his name now, but the worst thing we did was try to actually compete with compete with Novell with Microsoft. If anyone remembers the old Novell Office, that was the ball. They bought out Ball. The Novell bought Borland and WordPerfect and launched Perfect Office. That was a big disaster. So that was the beginning of the end for Novell at that stage.
It's a shame too, because Perfect Office was actually nice software.
Yeah.
Just wasn't perfect.
Yeah. But they're still around. What are they called now? Microfocus. So Novell's now Microfocus now. So they're still floating around.
Yeah,
company.
didn't even know that. Didn't even know that.
So anyway. But yeah, the answer is I've got no idea, Anthony. Absolutely no idea. So I left in 2003. So that was a long, long, long time ago now. So 18 years.
Yeah, once Windows 95 sort of came out, the sort of wind went out of their sails, and that was it.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of mice, for those Amiga users, has anyone got the Amiga tank mouse and ripped out the internals and replaced it with the optical and the optical sensors and the micro switches?
No.
So I remember seeing a blog on it somewhere. So you can actually just pull apart the tank mouse, and it's just basically a drop-in replacement. So instead of the buttons, they replace them with micro switches, and then the actual ball itself is actually a optical reader, whatever it's called.
And then you can give me the ball.
The one thing is at 2 point. Yeah,
it's not 2 point. It's not 1 inch though, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, it might be the Asian inch, but anyway. Oh, sorry, we're being recorded, aren't we?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, but I was just reading on a blog somewhere. Oh, that sounds quite interesting. So it's a project that is actually within my skill set, but I just don't know if anyone's actually ever tried it or not. So I might be the guinea pig and test it out.
I've just put the link up on the chat. It's on the amigastore.eu.
Oh, here you go. Laser upgrade.
Yeah.
They're reasonably expensive from what I remember for what they are.
€30, isn't?
Oh.
I mean, if you really like Amiga, I mean, that's pretty good value. I mean, $30. I mean, who would do that for $30? Well, it's €30. It's $60.
$60. Yeah. I read somewhere.
I think that makes it technically one of the cheaper Amiga accessories.
A mouse.
I also read somewhere, or I saw a video somewhere where somebody did that, and they complained that the mouse was too light after they ripped the ball out.
A bit of concrete.
Yeah, lead will fix it.
Mm-hmm.
We got plenty of that.
Just fishing sinkers.
Yep.
They say, we'll talk to Anthony. He's got 200 kilos of
balls.
Of 25.4 millimeter balls.
Oh, and Henry, get in touch with me via PM or whatever if you want to talk further about Dragon power supply stuff, because I'm at a relatively advanced point. I have PCBs coming to prototype at this point.
No worries. Hey, we can't really can't close off without actually comments on the new Keeping Up with the Commodore video. Did anyone see that? That dropped on the up on YouTube about 24 hours ago?
No.
So someone actually did a whole remix on Are You Keeping Up with the Commodore?
It was the guy that does a lot of the music for Periphractic.
And it is awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll go and look for it.
Yeah, wait, there's a cameo at the end.
Are you sending us the link, or
I'm not having a look. Someone will find. I'm going to say someone will probably find it before I can see it on the link.
And Stevens just found also that a terrible copy of the newsletter, not shrunk wrapped, in the chat as well. So.
Oh no!
I might be able to avoid breaking the seal on it, maybe.
And but I think you should, because it could just be a cover sheet.
True,
It doesn't actually have any content.
There's nothing in the content.
There's nothing inside.
I'll have a
It's
good
just some
notebook.
paper.
The guy could be selling it page by page.
Can you show us that again? Show us your newsletter again, the sealed in plastic.
I don't know who it's sealed by.
Oh, wait a minute. So that's not in color. That's actually a print.
Yeah. This is like a cardboard sort of cover.
Turn it around 180.
It's got this.
It's got 0591. Was that
looks pretty.
91?
That's
Is that laser printed?
591. That's its number out of 10,000.
Oh, okay. So it's like personally autographed by the seller.
Yeah.
Jack Tramiel personally signed each page.
Oh, yeah, cool. Good old Jack.
So, Steve, I've got a theory about that white shrink wrapped. So that would have been done where they just send them off to the printers. And so at the meetings, there would have been like a binder that everyone actually had. So they would have given out that newsletter at that point. Then they actually would have unwrapped it and then put it straight into the binder. That's why the punch holes are there as well.
Yeah, if you look at this scan that he's linked, it's a 3-hole punch binder fill, exactly as he's got it. So it definitely does go in a binder. So maybe that is authentic.
Yeah.
Although if he scanned it, it would be better than this copy, because this copy is terrible.
But it's still pretty neat to have one shrink wrapped.
Yeah, I think so. But once again, things that are shrink
Speaking
wrapped.
Speaking of authentic, here is an authentic. I came across this when I was going through some stuff in the house. An authentic 1985 brochure for a first nice modem, an Australian-made modem. Remember when we used to make stuff in this country? It was amazing. I remember my dad and I. Actually, no, this was from a guy in Croydon. He used to sell Commodore stuff. And those of you who have a sharp eye might recognise that name, Michael Van Bremen. There was a 128D that came up on Facebook Marketplace for about 10 seconds before it got bought recently. It had an MVP sticker on it, which that caught my eye. I was like, oh wow. So yeah, that was an Australian-made modem. That they made a version for the 64 and an RS-232 modem as well.
Did you get that Commodore 128?
No, I did Facebook the guy, and seriously, I think it had only been up maybe an hour, if that, when I contacted him, and it had gone. So I don't know who got it, but it went damn quick.
It'll be on eBay.
I like the name of the company, Nice Computer Company. It's very,
Yeah. Oh, look, but Danny, that was a big brand, Nice Modems.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Oh, yeah, you see it in all the Computer Users Group newsletters, Nice Modem. It's just like, what a terrible company.
But we
I guess it did. I guess it did better than the crappy modem.
It was actually a really good little modem. One of the cool things was it with one wire, you have to add one wire, and it was like fully, I think, 1650, whichever the really popular Commodore modem was at the time. So instantly, you was compatible with all the BBS software and all the terminal software and all that sort of stuff. So that did me for a long time until I hit my first Hayes modem. Some of the other stuff that I came across, and I'll have to scan it and upload it to archive.org when we get back in the office. This is from PC 85.
Oh, cool.
as you do when you're a kid and you take your dad's.
Is that the brochure for PC85?
That is for the Yamaha CX. What is it? Yamaha CX SM music computer. The brochure that Yamaha had for it.
I think Justin Condello, who's just left, actually has that machine.
Yeah, lovely
okay.
machine.
Well, remind
Yeah.
me.
I've got a couple with
And
the
for the
keyboard.
Oh, you've got one too, Colin.
Yeah, with the music keyboard as well.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, the good old days of
when I
broche.
get a chance to upload them. Yes,
nice
and these are in
brochure.
they're actually in pretty good condition, and of course, no.
Mike, next time
computer,
you come over this way, just bring them with you and I'll just scan them quickly. I've got an overhead A3 and A4 scanner that
sweet.
I can just do that straight away when you're here.
Cool.
I've got that.
And that's
I've got that
of
one.
course Commodore.
Yeah, I've got that.
That's a world worth being in.
And the only other thing was I found this is more sort of memorabilia for me, but I don't know how many of you guys. You probably can't even see this, unfortunately.
No,
what it
you
is
just
anyway
see a piece
is
of paper.
it's really faint. It's going to be hard to scan, but it probably will. Marston Technic were like one of the first multi-user online systems, and you could get an account as long as you could get to their machine in Germany. They would give you a free account on their multi-user. So think of the forerunner to IRC, and this was my letter that they sent me all the way from Germany, saying that here's your account on Marston Technic. So that's like, it's just like one of those things that it's memorabilia, but it was all this stuff I found, these brochures and stuff that I'd stashed away at some point when I've moved. Oh, and here's another one. Commodore 128.
Ooh, I might have scanned that one in.
I reckon I was probably hitting Dad up because we had a 64 at the time. Probably, Dad, hey, Dad. Took me long enough to get.
That particular
here we go.
brochure is done by Commodore Australia.
Oh, that's nice.
And I've got a few
On
of
the
them
microphone.
scanned. See if I can find that particular one because I scanned as many as I had. I'll let you know. Yeah, I don't think I have that one scanned, so we should scan that one too.
I think there was a bit of a
I'll bring them.
So I was just going to say there was a bit of a habit of going into shops and everyone would have brochures and you just take one of each, whether you knew what it was about or not, and you went off home and had a look at it sometime later.
I think so. I kind of remember going there with Dad and just being mesmerised by all of these stands and all that. Yeah. The one thing I do remember that we took back from his PC85 was I convinced him to buy a Sky 64 disc drive. So we had a tape deck only on the 64, and I really, really wanted a disc drive. But the 1541 was, I think it was like $3.99 or something at the time, and we've gone to this stand, I think it was Portchester Computers in St Kilda. They had them, and I think they were $2.99, but show price was like $2.49 or something, and managed to convince him to come home with that. I think I was the only person I knew with one of these Sky drives.
Check the chat comments. I put the promotional brochure for the Sky 64 Super Drive in that link. I scanned that in about a year ago.
I keep looking for one on eBay because it's one drive I want to add to my collection to complete my reimagining of my old home setup.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about Commodore computers, but I actually recall the Sky ad for their drives. It's probably the only one thing I ever remembered. And it's funny because you never see them.
I assume that they just weren't that popular. I don't know of any computer shops where I lived in Dandenong. I don't think anyone actually sold them. So who?
Yeah. Well, there was a computer shop near our school that sold them. So
So I only knew Sky from the floppy disk, or I'm positive, didn't Sky do floppy disks? Like
I
5
think they did a number of things.
Yeah, because I'm positive I've got
Yeah,
I bought Sky floppy drives back in the day, floppy disk back in the day. I was wondering if it's the same company.
Most likely.
Possibly. I think they were just an importer back in the day who slapped their name because that drive was sold in the US as the I think the accelerator FSD1 and you can certainly see them in other brandings, but in Oz, yeah.
All right, guys. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm going to have to wrap this up. I'm going to have to wrap this up for this evening. So I am going to stop recording now, and you guys can continue on. But thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.